Hello class, this is Mrs. Barrow. Today we're working on Hammurabi's Code was it just. We're working on the steps between outline and essay from outline to essay. Depending on the level of class you're in, there's a difference in what day you'll be looking at this podcast, but go ahead and follow along. So, working title on the first page literally means that's, the title of your paper, Hammurabi's Code. Is it just? The grabber for paragraph 1, which is your introduction paragraph, is something that gets the reader's attention. It's a phrase or a question pertaining to the purpose of the essay. So the purpose of this essay is it just? So it's a phrase or a question which makes people think about justice, or makes people think about justice within Hammurabi's Code, depending on how specific you want to start. Remember, if you're talking about just justice in general, eventually you're going to want to bring it into Hammurabi's Code by downscaling it. Background. What led up to the creation of the issue you are discussing? What information did you read about Hammurabi's Code? What time period was it in? Who's Hammurabi? Why did he make a code? Those are the kind of things you want to put in there after the grabber, and that kind of narrows it down to what you're about to talk about. Stating the question with key terms defined. Okay, that means pose some questions about the issue, including the question that you're going to answer with your thesis statement. Okay, in this essay, you're going to pose some questions and then ask, was it just? Was it fair to the people? Was it harsh? Questions like that will all work. And then finally, the thesis roadmap is just the thesis statement, really, is what it means. In the following essay, I will explain how. A lot of theses can start that way, and that's the easiest way to start a thesis statement. Your thesis statement belongs in the last sentence of your introduction paragraph in any essay. So for this essay, in the following essay, I will explain how Hammurabi's Code was unjust due to the harshness of its family law, property law, and personal injury law. Now remember, you're stealing the thesis from your chicken foot, which we did in the previous podcast. So you're either going to say that it's just or unjust, okay? You don't have to say unjust. It's your opinion backed up by the evidence that you found in the articles. So paragraph 1, this is an example of something somebody wrote. You cannot use this example. If you use this example, it's not your own work and it's plagiarism. The grabber this person used, spare the rod and spoil the kingdom. Have you ever heard spare the rod and spoil the child? Well, they did a play on words there. Background, Hammurabi came to the throne in 1792 BCE, conquered surrounding city-states, and assembled a code of 282 laws. That is background information on Hammurabi. Stating the question with key terms defined. Hammurabi's Code, was it fair? Did it provide security for all? See, they're posing questions that makes you think about the fairness of the code. And then thesis and roadmap, again, is going to be your thesis statement from your chicken foot. Paragraph 2, remember paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 for this essay are going to be your body paragraphs. Each body paragraph is going to be what you listed in your thesis statement in order. So if you said family law was your first reason for saying it was just or unjust, paragraph 2 will be about family law. You get these from your buckets that you use to create your chicken feet. Okay. Evidence, supporting detail from the documents within the document citation. So basically what you're doing here, just like English class, you're citing the text. You're saying for your evidence that's based on document A, blah, 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 or based on document B, blah, 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 and this evidence supports what you got from the bucket. Argument is something that connects the evidence to the thesis. So the evidence from document A, and then you list whatever you found in document A, proves that it is just or unjust because, okay? So here's an example for is it just, or somebody who's going to say that it is just, okay? The baby thesis they had for bucket 1 is that the justice of Hammurabi's Code can be seen in family law. The evidence they used is Law 148, taking in first wife while she is ailing from document C. Law 195 from document C also, hands cut off for striking father. Okay, so this is the evidence that they're going to use to prove that Hammurabi's Code is just. The argument proves that these two things mean that it's just. So Law 148, justice involves protecting the weak against the strong, just like the husband that is taking in the wife while ailing. Justice prevails when it preserves respect and authority at home and in kingdom. Okay, so cutting off the hand for striking the father, it's respecting authority in a very extreme way, but it's respecting authority. So you see, they take the evidence, they cite the document, and then they explain why that evidence proves that it is justice, because that's this person's example, that Hammurabi's code was just. So again, these are the examples from bucket 1 over here in the evidence section. And these are the examples from the bucket and how they support this thesis statement, just or not just, depending on your essay. Okay, finally, the conclusion paragraph example. Okay, conclusion, although statement and restatement of the main idea. Just so you know, it doesn't have to be an although statement. In fact, to be honest, Miss Barrow finds that in most essays, the best way to end an essay in the conclusion paragraph is to make the first statement of the paragraph a backwards thesis statement. Miss Barrow, what's a backwards thesis statement? Okay, so this person's thesis statement says, in the following essay, I will explain how Hammurabi's code was unjust due to the harshness of its family law, property law, and personal injury law. Okay, so that was the thesis that this person had as the last sentence of their first introduction paragraph. Now, the first sentence of their conclusion paragraph, which is paragraph 5 for this essay, what we're working on now, would be backwards, meaning you're saying it happened in the past because you've already done these things. So the thesis, this thesis statement backwards would be, in the previous essay, I explained how Hammurabi's code was unjust due to the harshness of its family law, property law, and personal injury law. This works for all opinionated and explanatory essays to be able to make the backwards thesis statement the first statement in the conclusion paragraph. And it's very helpful, especially when you get to high school. They love to see everything tie together like that. So again, use the backwards thesis statement as the first sentence in the last paragraph. So I'm going to show you again examples from outline to essay. The introduction. This is paragraph 1, the person, spare the rod, spoil the kingdom. Hammurabi's throne in 1792 BCE, blah, blah, blah. This is all the stuff we read earlier. Okay, you go to essay. This is how they put it together. Spare the rod and you will spoil the child. Hammurabi became ruler in 1792 BC. It was an unsafe time and Hammurabi conquered nearby city-states so that they wouldn't conquer Babylon instead. When he did this, he had a code of 282 laws carved on giant stones and steels. But the question is, were these laws just? This means that they were fair to all people. If you look at 3 categories, family, property, and injury, it is clear that Hammurabi's code was just. Do you see how this happened? The grabber is there. Spare the rod. Hammurabi came to the throne. Okay, there's that information. 282 laws. There it is. Stating questions. Here's where they're asking questions. And then the thesis is there, and the thesis is there. Okay. What you do is you take these information that you have put together in this outline, you make it complete sentences. The best way to make sure that your essay makes sense is to read it out loud in a Morgan Freeman or a National Geographic voice. And the way that I mean this is you can tell if your grammar's not right sometimes by reading it out loud, because you talk to people every day and you can tell when people don't say things right. But sometimes when you're reading it, you don't make the same connection. So like Miss Barrow sits there when she's writing a paper and goes, spare the rod and you will spoil the child. Hammurabi became ruler of Babylon in 1792 BCE. It was an unsafe time for Hammurabi, conquered nearby city-states so that they wouldn't conquer Babylon instead. When he did this, he had a code of 282 laws, carved on giant stones and steels. But the question is, were these laws just? This means they were fair to all people. If you look at the 3 categories, family, property, and injury, it is clear that Hammurabi's code was just. You see like how all of that flowed and made sense, and that sounds like something that somebody on National Geographic or Morgan Freeman would say. If on the other hand, it was like, yo friend, what up G-Dog? I think Hammurabi be awesome, yo. then you would know that that's not something Morgan Freeman would say, and you realize that maybe you should rephrase everything in your paragraph. But that's the most helpful way to do it. Trust me. Okay, so body paragraphs 1 through 3. This one, or body paragraphs 1 through 3 are actually paragraphs 2 through 4 for you. So baby thesis for bucket 1, justice is in the law, and then it mentions the laws and the documents that it comes from, and it does the same thing over here. Same thing with the conclusion. It leads to the essay. You take your statement and you state it at the top, and then after that, you just kind of back it up a bit, and sometimes if you end it with a question, it makes it more interesting. So here's what the backwards thesis statement. In the previous essay, I explained how Hammurabi's code was unjust due to the harshness of its family law, property law, and personal injury law. Very good backwards thesis statement. Then, over here, in the previous essay, I explained how Hammurabi's code was unjust due to the harshness of its family law, property law, and personal injury law. The evidence proves his punishments to be harsh, unnecessary, and unfair. If we had these laws and consequences in the United States today, would you want to live here? See how it ends with like a question? It's like, I mean, it's drawing in the fact that you're saying that the code was unjust, or you're saying that it's just, depending on your statement, but it makes it in a way that the reader has something to think about, and that you're just completely supporting the fact that you said it was just or unjust. You have to be very careful in essays. You can't sit there in the essay and say in one paragraph that it's just and the next paragraph that it's unjust, because then it shows that you're not strong in your conviction. You need to make sure that you drive the point home that you're right and that it's fair or it's not fair, and that's the end of the line. So hopefully this explained to you how to get from your outline to your final essay. If you have any questions, see Miss Barrow. Have a great day.